Liberal Party of Canada has announced that they will be admitting 300,000 immigrants into Canada in 2016, the largest influx of immigrants in decades. Liberal Immigration Minister John McCallum has dictated that our history of compassion mandates that we allow hundreds of thousands of migrants to enter our country this year. When I was reading through McCallum's statement, I noticed something. He made a lot of talk about Canada's compassion and our need to permit immigrants into our country because of our humanitarian tradition, but there's zero mention of the price that everyday Canadians are forced to pay as a result of that immigration. With 300,000 immigrants entering our country over the next year, what is the real cost to Canadians? According to a study by the Fraser Institute, the financial burden of immigration is between $16 billion and $23 billion per year, or around $6,000 for each first-generation immigrant living in Canada. That figure includes welfare and social assistance spending, as well as immigration costs, education, and other government services. Recent immigrants only pay around half as much in income tax as other Canadians. They only pay half as much and yet have access to the same entitlements as everyone else. The situation with refugees is even worse. The Canadian federal government has allocated $4,000 for each Syrian refugee coming to Canada. Refugee resettlement, housing, food, clothing, and subsidized jobs cost taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's just an additional expense on top of the other services such as healthcare that Canadian citizens are already paying for. Given the increase in the immigrant population, the total cost of immigration in 2016 could be in the vicinity of $30 billion. That's 1/10 of the 2015 Canadian federal budget, just for reference. We've become a country hell-bent on helping foreigners. When I pay taxes and when other Canadians pay taxes, I'd like to think they're going to Canadians and making Canada a better place to live. But that isn't the case. It wasn't always this way. Migrants used to come into Canada with a higher relative skill level, earning more money and paying more in taxes. They actually benefited the country. Nowadays, migrants come into Canada with a lower skill level relative to other Canadians, earn less money, and pay less in taxes. So much for common sense. We don't just take in the best and the brightest anymore. We take in anyone who wants in. Unfortunately, things are looking like they're going to get worse before they get better. Subsidies to immigration are increasing under Justin Trudeau, not decreasing. If the Liberals have their way, we'll be hurtling towards more chart-topping, wallet-busting years of unbridled immigration. And this isn't a right or left issue. Both parties seem to be advocating more immigration despite our broken system. On the right, they'll say it's for cheap labor, and on the left, they'll say it's for diversity. Either way, the taxpayer loses. There are certainly benefits to immigration. We can overcome skill deficits in certain fields like medicine, science, and engineering through immigration. And we can use immigration to overcome demographic gaps. But these benefits are dwarfed by the financial burden that immigration imposes. Herbert Grubel, the co-author of the Fraser Institute study, has stated, "We need a better selection process. We're not here as a country to do charity for the rest of the world. Canadian money should be going to Canadians. God knows we have our own problems to deal with."